welcome to the Album Man, and today I'm going to be doing a review of Endgame by Megadeth. And this was a review request from Iron Maiden Virtual 11, and my first review request, so thanks for that request, Iron Maiden Virtual 11. So anyway, Endgame is Megadeth's 12th studio album and it was released on September 9th, 2009 on Word Runner Records. The lineup for this album was Dave Mustaine on lead vocals, lead rhythm and acoustic guitars, as well as piano, Chris Broderick on lead rhythm and acoustic guitars, James Lomenzo on bass, and Sean Drover on drum percussion. So this was the first Megadeth album to feature Chris Broderick because of Glenn Dover's departure in 2008. And it was James Lomenzo's last album, as he would be replaced for 13 by the epic and legendary David Ellefson. So, let's go through the track listing. Oh, first I might mention that this is certainly a political album. A lot of Mustaine's lyrics in this album are certainly very political. So yeah, it's a very interesting album. Anyway, track listing: Dialectic Chaos, This Day We Fight, 44 minutes, 1320, Bite the Hand, Bodies, Endgame, The Hardest Part of Letting Go, Sealed with a Kiss, Head Crusher, How the Story Ends, and The Right to Go Insane. Now, one thing I will say is The Hardest Part of Letting Go and Sealed with a Kiss are the same song. It's just one of Megadeth's sort of two songs in the same song thing, like Holy War's The Punishment Due or Rust in Peace Polaris, that type of thing. Sort of melds into one, but it is two separate, but it's one. Yeah, it's sort of separated by dots. So it's The Hardest Part of Letting Go, ... Sealed with a Kiss. Just to clarify, in case you thought they were two separate tracks. So anyway, this album starts with Dialectic Chaos, which is Megadeth's first full instrumental since Silent Scorn from The World Needs a Hero. And this track certainly shows you how you want a Megadeth album to open. It has the fast-paced guitar duel between Chris and Dave, and that's pretty much it. It is a great opening track and certainly sets a tone for the rest of the album, and as well as saying that Chris certainly can play. Now, where do I stand on the whole Chris Broderick v. Marty Friedman, I think it is, dispute? Well, I've heard that Chris Broderick has been called an emotionless robot for his guitar playing. And yeah, he is not exactly Dave Gilmour. He's not exactly Joe Bonamassa or Philip Sayce or Gary Moore. But, you know, none of those are metal guitarists. Not Slash or even Zakk Wylde. But Marty, well, he isn't exactly Gilmour himself. He may have slight more emotions than Chris, but both of them are pretty much bucketheads in terms of emotion. I would say that Chris and Marty are both very good guitarists. None of them as good as Mustaine, but I would say they are both very competent guitarists, and I'm not really going to choose between them. So anyway, then we get to the first proper song, which is This Day We Fight. And this was actually the second ever Megadeth song I heard, because I discovered Megadeth appallingly on Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, because, well, they have quite a few tracks on there. They have This Day We Fight, which was actually written especially for the final boss battle, and they had Holy War's The Punishment Due, which is my all-time favourite Megadeth song. And yeah, this song begins with, well, it has sort of a likeness to Rust in Peace, with the with the fast palm muted notes, and it just has that aggressive nature all round her, as well as great guitar work. And yeah, well, you know, especially towards the end, by both Dave and Chris. And yeah, in This Day We Fight, lyrically, it's inspired, like I've heard, like quite a few Megadeth songs, by J.R.R. Tolkien and his Lord of the Rings trilogy. This particular song, now, was mainly influenced by Aragorn's speech at the Black Gates of Mordor, during the Battle of Monon, if I'm saying that right, as well as Theoden's speech at the Battle of Pelennor Fields. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Oh wow. Okay, good song. I've heard some people say it's a bit tacky. No, it is a good song. Then we get to 44 minutes. This starts quite interesting with a cop radio playing, and it is the first political song on the album. So I'm just going to tell you what it's about. It is basically on the 2nd of February 1997, there was the famous Hollywood shootout where Larry James, no, where the hell's the James coming from? No, just Larry Phillips Jr. and Emil Matasawainu, that's not an easy name to say, tried to rob the Bank of America armed with assault rifles, AK-47s, and other weapons. If I listed all their weapons, it would take a long time. But because of delivery issues, the bank only had about $300,000 in the vault. So after they got that money, they faced dozens of LAPDs and SWAT commanders, who the two shot at extensively, injuring 19 of them, but after a long, drawn-out shootout, both Larry and Emil were killed. So anyway, this song, it has such a great melodic chorus, but yet with that a Megadeth aggression you want, and it truly is a powerful song. The attention to detail is just wonderful. They even added authentic AK-47 sounds under the snare drum. You know, they just wanted to make you think that, you know, wow, I've never heard anything like that before. And it's true. Again, the guitar licks such a high standard. And, you know, with some deadly fast guitar licks towards the end. It's probably my second favourite Megadeth song of all time, only to Holy Wars of Punishment Due, which I said before was my favourite. And this song gets its name from the FX Alex Jones, that's one. It gets it from the FX documentary about the Hollywood killings called 40 Minutes, the Alex Jones thing. That's different, we'll get onto that later. Yeah, it's a political song, very much just about those events and sort of describing them. Powerful song. Then we get to track 4, which is 1320. And if you can't guess, which I certainly couldn't, this is a song about drag racing. As a drag racing track is 1/4 mile, which is 1,320 feet, hence the name. And this starts off the song with the sound of a drag car revving up. But this song, to be honest, in my opinion, it's mainly about the dueling guitar solo at the end, which is very good. But overall, I'd say this is the weakest track on the album. It's just the rest of it, except for the epic dueling guitar solo. It's pretty poor, not memorable except for the dueling guitars, but this isn't Freebird. Then we get to Bite the Hand, another aggressive song driven by that heavy, very typical Megadeth riff. And the song, it's actually lyrically pretty interesting as well. It's about Wall Street stabbing the common person in the back to make more money, and the greed of the financial leaders, and how they didn't remotely care about the responsibility it had to the public. I think it's a great song and delivers a very true, straight message. Applaud Mustaine for, writing about that type of thing. It's always good to piss off Wall Street. Then we get to Bodies, and this is a solid riff-driven song with some very good bass and guitar, and it's decent, nothing at all spectacular, still, decent song. And now we get to the title track, Endgame. Now the album name, and this, is named after the Alex Jones documentary with the same name, which talks about the New World Order, and, end of the world, and doom and gloom, and all that happy stuff. But anyway, it is a galloping, aggressive song set in the future about the New World Order, but it also covers, which I find very interesting, the bill ex-President George W. Bush, I'm pretty sure it's George W. and not his father, secretly signed, he secretly signed a bill which makes it legal for people to be placed into detention centres if they contributed to parties that Bush's regime considered terrorism. And, as with all the songs on this album, the guitar work is great, and I think the chorus is good as well. Overall, it's a very, very strong song, and it just has such a vicious, bitter energy towards the Bush regime. It's almost like Rage Against the Machine having written the lyrics, and Mustaine added Megadeth's music. It's just so full of hate and politics. It's just wonderful, absolutely wonderful track. So strong, so right. He's clearly not agreeing with Bush's detention centres, and yeah. Quite a lot of his political views are a bit, yeah, not the best, but still, I always enjoy a good political song. Next we get to, well, this is quite strange for me to say this about Megadeth song, but a beautiful Megadeth song, which is the hardest part of letting go / sealed with a kiss. And as I said, it's another double song like Holy War's The Punishment Due or Rest in Peace Below Us. The first section, which is the hardest part of letting go, was written for his wife, who complained that he had never written anything about her, and this song really starts, as I said, quite beautifully, with acoustic guitars while Dave hauntingly sings over the top. And this is very unlike Megadeth, but I think it really works into a wonderful change for the part of the song, and then just as he stops singing, you can hear an almost ghostly lead guitar lick in the background, electric guitar, before the second part, Sealed with a Kiss, kicks in, and it certainly turns the volume right back up to 11. It's really great, lovely guitar work from Chris, great chorus from Mustaine, and before you know it, Sealed with a Kiss is over, and it goes to the hardest part of Letting Go Part 2, but this time it has a marching snare in the background, and again it just conveys a haunting message to it. And yeah, wonderful song, another one of my absolute favourite Megadeth songs, just lovely. I did find quite a funny review of this track, and there's just a sentence I have to quote, right, and I quote, okay? Dave Mustaine should not do ballads, as he sounds like his testicles are being fed through a garlic crusher. I just thought that was hilarious. I mean, yes, he does have a pretty high-pitched voice, but I think his voice is pretty decent for ballads. I'm not saying he's Robert Plant with Stairway to Heaven, but I enjoy this ballad, and I think it's really good. I wouldn't say it's their best ballad, as I would say A Tout Le Monde is their best ballad, and one of their best songs, but this is such a good song. Then we get to Head Crusher, which is, as it should be, a crushingly quick song about the medieval torture device of the same name. The lyrics tell the story of a person who is taken underground, where he is interrogating using this device to torture the answers out of him, and he explains the effects it would have on the body. The song just screams Megadeth, with its massively fast muted chords, lightning quick shredding solos that make fast Eddie Clarke of Motorhead look slow. It's a really good song. Then we get to the second to last track on the album, which is How the Story Ends. Such a wonderfully catchy chorus, along with the classic chugging riffs you come to expect from Megadeth. Again, one of my favourite Megadeth songs. Then last, but definitely not least, is The Right to Go Insane, which is about a citizen who is being driven mad by financial worry and stress caused by overworking in order to, remotely stay afloat. The citizen basically gets fed up with life and believes that the only choice he has is insanity. And this song is just told in such a brilliant, again heavy, yet catchy Megadeth way. Overall, I do believe that Endgame, probably quite controversially, is Megadeth's best album. I do think it's better than Rust in Peace. Peace sells who's buying, I do. It's such a return to form for things like Euthanasia and Risk and all that stuff. But United Abominations, I've heard, is meant to be good, but haven't listened to it, can't judge. The political messages that Dave Mustaine conveys through this album are just fascinating, really interesting. I love to see musicians put leaders down, just like Green Day and their American Idiot, or practically any Rage Against the Machine song with Zach De La Roche. I think his angry political messages, they just add an aggression in the riffs and vocals that suit the band absolutely perfectly. The album does have a softer side, which I think just makes it a really diverse album, and yeah, I'm pleased they had that softer side. So yeah, the thing about this album I love most though, it was the aggression that you want to hear from a Megadeth album when you have it blasting out your hi-fi. But yet with choruses that are so catchy that if John Bon Jovi ever had one, he'd jump off a cliff knowing he could never better them. So overall, I would give this album an 8.5 out of 10. It is not a perfect album, but I think it is Megadeth's finest and an absolute fresh classic. This has been the Album Man. Thanks for watching, comment, rate, subscribe, and thanks Iron Maiden Virtual 11 for recommending me to listen and review this album, because I may not have heard it for quite a long time to come. So, as I said, been the Album Man, comment, rate, subscribe, bye.